Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my F1 23 MyTeam career mode. This is part 23 of the series. If you did miss the last race around Spain, it was a pretty good one. It was a fourth career win for George Russell, who led a Mercedes 1-2 across the line, and for ourselves it was a good recovery drive. Well, not so much a recovery drive, we start P6, but we did end up finishing P4, so a good race, progressing ourselves through the field as we now take a look at the performance charts. McLaren have made big gains actually, and they've started gapping the rest of the field a little bit, whereas ourselves, we've kind of held station a little bit, but still very much in there within the mid-pack for the performance at the moment. So definitely looking like that we should be able to score some good points if we've got the pace around this circuit. I personally quite like this circuit, but it's a pretty good flying circuit. Yeah, the only issues I really have with it is that last chicane. That's just a bit of a tricky one to sometimes get right, as we now go straight into practice session. So this is going to be our race strategy program, and straight off the bat, as I said, got some base. I quite like this circuit. Is now going into the next strategy. You can see that we've only had one real mistake there, where we got a green and not a purple, so nearly a perfect result here in that one, and that's good enough for purple, obviously, as we are currently fastest in the session. But here we are in the tyre program, and you can see that Norris is currently leading, and it's Alex Albon on P2, so we're looking like we've actually got some pretty good pace at the moment, ahead of the Ferrari on the same set of tyres as well. So that was also, once again, another purple session. So let's have a look at the top three. So Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, and Lando Norris topping the practice in the end. Alex Albon finished P4 in the end on the soft tyre, so very good pace there from our teammate. Ourselves, we finished P15 in the end. We didn't go out for a soft tyre run, so I'm not too concerned being that far back. But hopefully once we put on those soft tyres, we can pretty much put ourselves immediately on the pace here in qualifying. But I think from the weather forecast, it should be a little bit of mixed conditions. So hopefully we can get some good laps in quickly to make sure that we can progress all the way through to Q3. As we're now on the end of our first flying lap, keeping it up against the wall, shortest distance to the line, and it's good enough for P5 at the moment, which isn't quite ideal at the moment. As we now actually set a purple sector, but we run wide going into turn 6, so that was throwing off the rest of our lap. And now, as we're about to start another flying lap after putting on another set of tyres, Mark is telling us our DRS is offline, and this is a track where we're going to be utilising 3 DRS zones, so definitely not ideal considering how large the one that we're currently going through is. So even though he said we have to stay out for him to try and fix it, I am not wasting these tyres and doing all these slow laps. So as we now jump, we've done a couple of in and out laps. We're just going to have to go for it and do a lap here, because we're running out of time, and I don't think we're going to make it through on the lap time that we've currently got. And if you did hear before, we actually had DRS. The little noise came on right as we were going into the braking zone for turn 1. And just here confirming that we do have the DRS. And now, as we come to the end of our flying lap here, we're up by about 0.2 of a second, going on to 0.3 of a second. And as we cross the line, we put ourselves P12, so a little bit safer, but still not ideal at the moment. As now we did try to do one more flying lap, and going through that final chicane, it was very close to track limits, and it managed to put in a purple final sector, which put us 13th in the end. So both of us, both myself and Alex Albon, making it through to Q2. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri lead a McLaren 1-2 in Q1, and Carlos Sainz finishing P3 in the end. So very good to see us both going through into Q2. As now it's a wet session, so we're currently on the soft, so I'm hoping that it's quite, it's not quite wet enough yet. As we actually start to go, starting our lap, we've hit the wall of champions. Luckily, no damage caught. And so now going into turn 1, it's going to be a very treacherous conditions. So we actually run super wide, and then super wide again going through turn 2. So definitely on the edge of being too wet, and this exit out of turn 3 is definitely proving that it's going to be a bit too wet for the soft tyres now. So we're going to have to box and put on the intermediates, and as you can see here, a lot of the field is on the intermediate tyres at the moment. So coming to the end of our first flying lap on these inters, and we're going to be P15, so definitely not where we need to be at the moment. really hoping that we can try and get ourselves a bit of a better position. And I was going to try and make this flying lap work, but unfortunately on the exit of turn 2, and coming out of turn 4 actually as well, we're getting some massive wheel spin, and unfortunately not able to make it back around to the start line to try and get another lap in. So Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz were the top 3 in Q2, and unfortunately for both myself and Alex Albon, we've been knocked out here in Q2, so we've got our work cut out for us if we want to try and get some points in tomorrow, especially for Alex having to start that little bit further back.
Montreal is not only the second largest French-speaking city in the world, but it's home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. The name Villeneuve looms large over this one, but who can write their own legends today? It's one of the fastest races of the season here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 60% of this 2.7-mile circuit taken at full throttle. There are 14 corners to navigate, the very last of which has its very own infamous history and could be the cause of a safety car today. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Sainz, Hamilton, Verstappen, Magnussen, Joe, Tsunoda, Perez, Stroll, Leclerc, Hülkenberg, Gasly, the Rainmaster, Bottas, Liam Lawson, Ocon, Sargent, De Vries, Iwasa, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And joining me again for the race today, Natalie Pinkham. Why don't we start by talking about Carlos Sainz? That was a solid result in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
All right, strategy time here. So we're going to be switching the strategy a little bit. So we're going to be going for the default strategy, but I want to put the medium tyres in first. I reckon trying to make up positions and starting on the hard tyres probably not going to be the smartest way to go. So I want to start on the softer compound, being the medium tyre, and just you finish strong on those hard tyres, and try and see if we can't have any good pace towards the end. Considering how good this car is on the hard tyres. Surprisingly enough, Valtteri Bottas in the Sauber actually has decided to go for the hard tyres. So within the 5 cars that we're able to see there, Hülkenberg's on the soft, and then there's everyone else on the mediums except for Bottas on those hard. So definitely going to be interesting to see the difference in our launches as now we head back to the grid to start lining it up 0.5 back, so it's a little bit further back, but it's still purple. So still maintaining that purple run so far this season, as now we're counting down to the lights, and it is 5 lights. And we're off for the Canadian Grand Prix. It's a pretty sluggish start for ourselves, but it's not bad enough for us to lose any positions. Although our second phase of the start is absolutely tremendous. So we're going to make it 3 wide going to turn 1. We're going to go around the outside of Hülkenberg and another car. I didn't quite catch who it was, but and we try to go around the outside of Yuki Tsunoda as well. But unfortunately, we kind of get squeezed out. And then we wanted to try and go for the inside, but we had Charles Leclerc right there kind of boxing us in. So we're going to have to sit tight for now. But going here into turn 6 is usually a pretty good spot to go for a dive bomb. It was so far back, but we still have enough confidence underneath the brakes to be able to go for the move. And we already find ourselves P11 from P15. So fantastic start for ourselves. As now looking ahead, this is Kevin Magnussen trying to put on a move to Sergio Perez. So these two are definitely going to be battling the Haas, definitely a little bit further up than where it should be based on the performance charts, but they're going to continue going side by side, and it's going to compromise their run here going through turn 10. So we're going to be trying to get a good run here. We're going to dump a heap of battery, tuck into the slipstream of Kevin Magnussen, who's also in the slipstream of Sergio Perez. So he's going to it's going to be a little bit more difficult for us. But now we pull out and get even more slipstream from Sergio Perez. So we're going to go and try and sweep around the outside, going through the chicane, and get the move done as Lando Norris sets the first. Leads the first lap of the race, hence the fastest lap is now cutting a little bit further on, and it's a safety car. So very early safety car, so I don't think we're going to be able to make anything out of this one. definitely a bit too early, and so this is why the safety car is out. So this is on board with Pierre Gasly, and Charles Leclerc runs so wide and then just cuts back onto the circuit. And now this is going to be very interesting. Sergio Perez has come into the pits under the safety car, so this is a very early pit stop, but I guess it is a free pit stop to get himself off those soft tyres that he started on, as now we do a bit of an order check here. So it's Lando Norris leading the way from George Russell and Oscar Piastri, then Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, Zhou in the Sauber doing fantastic in P7, then Stroll points at the moment at his home Grand Prix. Ourselves find ourselves in P9 after Sergio comes into the lane. And then it's Magnussen running out the final points paying position at the moment. Then it's Hülkenberg, Leclerc, Lawson, Tsunoda, Ocon, the two Williams of Sargent and Iwasa, then Bottas, De Vries. Our teammate Albon has fallen back quite a bit actually. And then Sergio Perez and Pierre Gasly after having to do a very early pit stop in this race. So hopefully, and now that we're already inside the points, we can get ourselves even further. And I really wanted to try and make a move going into turn 1, but unfortunately our restart was absolutely shocking. And we've already dropped nearly half a second to Stroll. I was really late on the brakes, so I was trying to see if I couldn't make anything work. And now, cutting a little bit further onto the lap, going into turn 6, we're able to make a very similar dive bomb as we did on Yuki Tsunoda, and that's put ourselves up into P8 now. And this is Max Verstappen. He's going to be trying to get past Oscar Piastri. He goes around the outside. He loses the rear, actually. And this is just going to slow up the rest of the pack behind us, because they're all going to have an absolutely terrible run going onto the main straight. Now, this is looking like going to give Carlos Sainz an opportunity to try and get past Piastri as well. In the meantime, we're going to get the move done on Zhou in that Sauber. And up ahead, you can see there, Carlos Sainz has just about got the move done. We're going to cut back to him, and Oscar Piastri is actually going to sweep around the outside at turn 3. So a very good move. And you can see there in the bottom corner, we've had an absolute wicked run going through there on Lewis Hamilton. So we're going to send it down the inside of the 7-time champ as well, and that is going to be another position for us as well. So we now find ourselves P6, so we're well and truly on the hunt in this Grand Prix very early on in the race, thanks to that safety car. So hopefully we can continue the progress going forward, and this is Carlos Sainz. He's now trying to still get past Oscar Piastri here. He hasn't quite got the move done yet, so they're going into turn 10. He's sent the dive bomb, but he hasn't quite got it done yet, and DRS hasn't been activated yet either, so he's going to have to try and do it on pure pace. And they also did try to go side by side going through that last chicane, and that halted Carlos's pace a little bit. So we managed to take advantage of that. And now this is Lance Stroll. He's getting past Lewis Hamilton as well. So I wonder if Hamilton's struggling just a little bit on these hard tyres early on in this race. As now, looking further ahead, ourselves, we're currently defending from Carlos Sainz, and Sainz nearly loops it. He gets a very taily on the exit of turn 8 there, going on to turn 9, and so that has allowed Stroll to go through, and Hamilton really did look like he was going to try and make something work of this as well, but he's now got Zhou to battle along with, and so it looks like Zhou could actually get this move done, and he does. Zhou gets the move done on Lewis Hamilton as well, so Hamilton finds himself P9 at the moment, and as now we send the dive on Oscar Piastri, give him a bit of a squeeze on the exit of turn 1 to make sure he doesn't get back up inside at turn 2, and we managed to maintain the position. So now we find ourselves P4, and could we possibly hunt down a podium? At the moment, that podium is 5 seconds down the road, as Hamilton and Zhou continue to battle it out here, going through the first couple of corners, but it's Hamilton that's getting back by Zhou in the end. And this is now Kevin Magnussen making a move on Zhou as well. As you can see there on the timing, Stroll has come into the pits to get off those soft tyres. So he's going to fall well and truly down the field now, but I wonder if maybe a 2-stop is the way to go here. As now back to our POV, we're going to be diving into the pits as well. We're going to get it slowed up nicely, making sure that we don't speed into the pit lane. So we're peeling into the pits from P4 in this Grand Prix, and we're going to see how much time gained we can get on Max Verstappen, who's going to stay out for another lap. And we've done our part for the pit stop, getting the optimal turn in, and can the boys in the pit lane get it done? Yes, they can. 2.3 second pit stop, so that's pretty good. That's pretty much as optimal as we can get at the moment. And now we're going to be rejoining the race, and it looks like we're going to be rejoining in P15, but I'm sure we're going to make up plenty of easy positions with everyone in front of us. Definitely want to be pulling into the pits. As now Lando Norris, the race leader, has come into the lane, and George Russell actually stays out, surprisingly enough. I reckon that is probably not the way to go. I reckon the undercut is definitely the way to go for this race, as now we get just an awesome exit coming out of turn 10, going through turn 11 on Pierre Gasly's. Now, Nico Hulkenberg is out of the Grand Prix at the moment, but for now, we're going to be focusing on this battle with Pierre Gasly. He's going to keep surging forward with a slipstream from Logan Sargent, but we're going to squeeze him going through this final chicane, going onto the main straight. And just look at how many cars are in the pit lane. So this has now put us all the way back up to P11. And there is the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. He's coming out of the lane, just going into turn 2 now. And this is what happened to Nico Hulkenberg. Going through turn 6, turn 7, he just starts slowing up, and there it is, an engine failure. So very unfortunate for Nico Hulkenberg, who was, I think, at the time actually in the points as well. And now, after making his pit stop, Lando Norris is trying to make a move here on Carlos Sainz. He's going to go around the outside at turn 10, and I think he should actually get the DRS as well, so that will definitely aid him in keeping his position. And now this is us trying to make a move on Sergio Perez, who's already done a pit stop, so I wonder if he's going to be trying to go to the end of the race. And then you can see Charles Leclerc's actually got a 5-second penalty, I would imagine, from the contact with Pierre Gasly, which brought out that safety car at the start of the race. And this is Max Verstappen now getting past Zhou Guanyu, who's in that Sauber, doing very well actually in P5. He's on the hard tyre, so he's definitely extending this first stint as we set a purple first sector, and we've caught up to Zhou as well. So we're going to be wanting to try and make a move very quickly, since we've gained actually a heap of time. It's only 1.8 seconds to Max Verstappen, so a podium is pretty much on the cards here, I reckon, at the moment, if we can maintain this pace, which is a very good signs to see at the moment. As now, this is Oscar Piastri making a move on Liam Lawson. It's going to be a very easy move in the end. He's going to get it done before the braking zone. And now back to us. Liam Lawson's currently got the fastest lap of the race, and we set the fastest lap of the race now at 12.4, as we've now got ourselves within DRS of Max Verstappen, as we now do a little bit of another order check at the moment. So Lando Norris leads from George Russell, Max Verstappen. That's the podium at the moment. Ourselves very close to Max Verstappen within DRS now. Oscar Piastri, and then Liam Lawson in P6 in that Haas. Stroll, he's in the points at his home Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, Yuki Tsunoda round out the points as it stands at the moment. And then you've got Ocon behind. Actually, he's under attack from Kevin Magnussen, so those two are battling it out at the moment. And could Nick De Vries now, with that run he's got, get by Kevin Magnussen? He's going to sit tight just for now. Sergio Perez finds himself down the order, making that early pit stop and possibly going to a 2-stop yet unconfirmed. Logan Sargent, then it's Zhou, who's now actually made a pit stop, so he's fallen down to P16. Then it's Leclerc and Gasly after making that really heavy contact early on in the race. Bottas and our teammate down in P20, which is unfortunate to see, hoping he can make his way further up the grid. Is now back to our POV. We're within striking distance of Max Verstappen. We've got DRS. We've dumped a little bit of overtake on him, and we're going to get the move done well and truly before the braking zone for this last chicane. And that puts us now onto the podium with roughly about 14 laps to go. Now, Stroll's made a move on Liam Lawson going into that final chicane, so a very good move from the home hero at the moment. And behind, it actually looks like Lewis Hamilton could be trying to make a move here on Carlos Sainz. Will he be able to get that move done around the outside at turn 1, which will give him the inside at turn 2? Only a little bit of time will tell as they get onto the exit, and it's actually Carlos Sainz who's able to keep the position, surprisingly enough. And now, moving forward, that Carlos Sainz is not wasting any time with the possibility of being overtaken by Lewis Hamilton. He's now got himself past Liam Lawson as well, so Carlos is definitely showing he's got plenty of pace in that Ferrari at the moment, as now he's going to be trying to chase down Stroll, as now Lewis Hamilton pulls out of the slipstream. He's going to be trying to make a move on Liam Lawson and makes a move done actually very easily going into that braking zone. As now we take a look here at this is Sainz. He's very quickly caught up to Stroll, and he's making a move around the outside going into the chicane. So a very clean move indeed from the Spanish driver. And now could Stroll be under attack from Lewis Hamilton? Hamilton pulls out, and he's going around the outside once again at turn 1, and he's going to have the inside for turn 2. Will he be able to get a better exit this time compared to when he was battling Carlos Sainz? They're going to stay side by side actually, so is Stroll going to be able to sweep around the outside? Yes, he will. So Stroll's going to be able to keep the position just for now, but only a lap later. This is Lewis Hamilton. He's going to make the move with the power of DRS around the outside going into that final chicane. So it took about three bites at the cherry, but Lewis Hamilton finally got it done on Stroll's. Now, for ourselves, we can now see both George Russell and Lando Norris ahead of us. So could there be possibly a last lap battle for between ourselves and George Russell? The gap's currently about 3 seconds, so we'll have to gain a few tenths each lap. And now this is Sergio Perez making a move on Yuki Tsunoda. So the sister teams battling it out now for the final points paying positions. And now on board with us, Ocon is now out of the race. So absolute disaster for Alpine. One driver crashes, the other one's out. So is this going to be an engine failure? He's pulling off to the side, and it is going to be an engine failure for Ocon. So absolute disaster for Alpine here this weekend. As now we're within 2 seconds of George Russell with 4.5 laps to go. So will we be able to catch George Russell? It's now less than a second to George Russell, and look how much we've got up to Lando Norris as well. This could be very quickly a 3-car battle for the win of the race as quickly as we're catching up with them now, as we now go into the DRS. And my plan here will be to try and get past George Russell on this straight, use the DRS onto the back straight, the front straightaway, to gain some time on Lando Norris. But we've actually had a pretty bad run coming out of the corner. George Russell was very good and actually squeezed us that tiny little bit more than I was hoping for. So on this final lap, we're going to be having to go all out to try and catch Lando here. So coming out of turn 2, a little bit of wheel spin, not being able to get onto the power as early as we can. The gap remains at about 1 second. Going through the 3-4 complex, using all of the track available to us without trying to get the track limits warning. And now going into turn 6, we're going to try and go late on the brakes, using a little bit of the curb, get it all lined up for turn 7, get on the power early. But I'm a little hesitant on the throttle because these tyres are actually starting to get quite worn, and so that's actually dropped us a few tenths back. So the main goal now is going to be try and get ourselves within DRS using all of the road going through turn 8, turn 9. And now, unfortunately, we're not quite close enough to get DRS, so we're going to have to dump all of the battery available very late onto the brakes to try and get ourselves within a second here to try and maximize our straight line speed going onto this final DRS section, which we don't have DRS for. So we're just hoping that we can try and make some sort of good run coming out of the final corner. And right as we're going in, I get a little bit distracted from that pop-up, and I haven't been able to get the exit that I really wanted to. And that has, I don't think I was going to ever get him, but that definitely did not get as close as I was hoping to. So we're going to have to settle for P2. I reckon if we did have one more lap, I reckon I may have just been about to get him. But we take home driver of the day, which is always very good to see.
For another magnificent Canadian Grand Prix, and they've hung on to take a sublime victory here today. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Well, confidence breeds confidence. Success breeds success. They are very much enjoying a purple patch right now.
And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm very happy to see them there on that top step of the podium.
So that was the Canadian Grand Prix for Season 2 of the F1 23 MyTeam Career Mode. It was a 5th career victory for Lando Norris here today for ourselves. We had a wicked recovery drive from being knocked out in Q2 to get ourselves onto the podium. George Russell also joins us up there on the podium, as now we're celebrating a good result there with the team. As now we take a look at the results. So the remainder of the top 10 was Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, Stroll. Did manage to get points in his home race, going up 3 positions to get that one done. Sergio Perez and Yuki Tsunoda round out the points. Unfortunately for our teammate, he did not have such a good day compared to us, and he's going to end up finishing P17 after starting last. So they're definitely not where he probably wanted to be. For the championship-wise, Lando Norris leads the Drivers' Championship by 24 points over George Russell. Ourselves, we find ourselves, we're 48 points off the lead of the championship at the moment. Now looking at the Constructors, McLaren lead the Constructors by 29 points over Mercedes, and Brabham, we find ourselves 26 points off Red Bull. So could we be possibly challenging Red Bull in the future? Who knows? Hopefully we can make big enough gains to be able to make that happen. Now here in the marketing department, we have to choose a new rival, and it's pretty obvious. I was going to be choosing Charles Leclerc, because I reckon Red Bull's a bit too far out of reach at the moment to be consistently beating them. And unfortunately, our energy store has actually failed. So we've had to quickly have a go at that and get that one go, but there wasn't enough points to get that one restarted. So very unfortunate, definitely putting us a little bit on the back foot going into the next race. It's going to be a sprint race, so extra racing to be covered. So if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Definitely means a lot to me, and I'll see you in part 24. See ya.